Thank you, everyone. So today we're going to take you through a journey across the globe and tell you about where your beef is going, how it's positioned in the market, and what the opportunities and challenges are. But first of all, I'm going to set up the scene and just take you through our global market strategy and how we're driving competitiveness and profitability for the industry. I'm going to do that through talking through three key areas. I'm going to talk about market knowledge and how important it is to understand our markets, where we're positioned and what the challenges are there. So following that, once we know what's happening in those markets, we've got to build a robust strategy. And that strategy is about having deep market knowledge and insights and being able to deliver programs that get return for our levy investment. And last of all, I'll be talking to you about the credible team that we have in MLA and how they're out there driving the strategy to make sure we get those returns for the industry. So overall, throughout the whole day, you're going to be hearing about how MLA drives competitiveness for the red meat sector to return profitability for the producers that we represent. So just to kick off, market knowledge. It's all about understanding the markets and what are the key market drivers. What are the challenges and opportunity and what is happening in those markets and where does our beef go? We have to understand the challenges, and there are a number of challenges at this point in time. But at the same time, there's some great market opportunities, and we're going to talk a lot about those today. So, exports, our beef market is a global player and we're subject to global forces. Our beef exports represent about $9 billion worth of income. Beef and cattle exports are about $9 billion worth of income. The markets that we supply, starting in North Asia, about 50% of our income comes from North Asia, and particularly Japan and Korea, and you'll be hearing how important those two markets are to us. North America, and particularly the US, about 20% return from those markets. Significant market, the US, and of critical importance. We then look at Southeast Asia and the Middle East, a big, wide, diverse range of markets with a whole lot of complex developments and complex consumers. So again, about 20% of our returns are from that Southeast Asia, Middle East sector. And then we've got Europe, one of our highest value markets. It's smaller, but it's of incredible importance. So we've got to know who our global consumers are and what those trends are. But of course, the domestic market, it's one of our largest markets, $8 billion alone in revenue. And that's based on estimate wholesale prices. So a significant market, and we've got a session at the end of today where we'll be drilling into how important Australia is on its own. But as I mentioned, there are some challenges. The South Americans and the Indian product is a flush across our markets. They continue to get better market access. They continue to enter our key markets, and particularly in that Southeast Asia and Middle East. So we've got to watch our competitors. They're getting better at what they do. They're getting better at telling their story, and they're becoming increasingly important competitors. Then the US, our traditional competitor. So the US production is on a significant incline, and we're expecting to see more meat come out of the US. And that product typically hits one of our two most important markets, Japan and Korea. But they are coming at us across the world. So we've got to understand those challenges, and as they intensify, be aware of the competition. The other global challenges is protectionism. So you all would have been reading about Trump and him protecting his borders and setting policy that is all about protecting the US. So those restrictions that he's putting on trade are critical to us because they can reverberate through the global economy and affect our markets that we sell our product in. So we need to be aware of that and monitor it closely. Market access and disruptions to our markets, and I think if you talk to the processors here today, they'll tell you firsthand how much this hits their bottom line and disrupts their businesses. So if we see a suspension in China, or we've got halal problems in Malaysia, these have a significant impact to the bottom line. So we've got to be across those and be able to respond quickly. Lastly, changing consumer sentiment. You'll be hearing a lot about the consumers today and the changes in their health requirements. They're looking for environmentally friendly product, sustainability, and as Richard mentioned, replacement meat products. So we need to be aware of these and be on top of these challenges. But there are some great opportunities out there. I'm going to talk about free trade first. Australia's had some great success in its free trade marketing. We've seen the Japan, Korea and China free trade agreement come in the last couple of years. These give us significant advantages in those markets to our competitors. We've recently seen the TPP. Without the US in it, we've been able to close that deal, and that will see us get further gains in some of our key markets. So free trade is critical, and I'll be talking about that a bit more, and you'll hear it throughout the day, what we're trying to do to drive a free trade agenda. We are very fortunate that our government does have a strong free trade agenda, and we need to get behind them and support and keep pushing them on that. The US economy, I'll talk about economies now. The US economy is travelling pretty well. It's quite robust, there's good employment, and there's lots of spending. And that's a good thing for us because the stronger the US economy, the more money people have in their pockets, the more they're going to go out and eat their own beef, which we won't see it on our global market. So that's a positive. But they'll also eat more Australian beef, and Rob Williams of Sabo will tell you about some of the opportunities there. And lastly, on the economic opportunities, I think you all hear about the growing middle class in Asia. It's huge. There's great opportunities there. We're seeing a lot of economies double, a lot of economies grow. And when we're looking at the consumer in these markets, we're looking at consumers who are earning over $35,000 a year. Those people are starting to shift from basic proteins and move up the protein chain to start eating beef and start eating imported beef. So I've got the example there of China. We're seeing that population of those households earning over $35,000 or more double in the next 4 to 5 years. So great opportunities. So with, our economic and trade prospects are strong. So from MLA's perspective, we understand the markets, we understand the challenges, and we understand the opportunities. But then we have to have a robust strategy that supports that so that when we're out in the market, we know how to drive for change. So our strategy is built on 3 pillars. We've got a strategic framework that we work within, and I'll be talking about those activities that we do there. We use a portfolio segmentation to prioritise our markets. We need to focus on the right opportunities. And then we need to have a robust way of investing levy dollars and allocating dollars to the right opportunities at the right time. So I'll talk about how we implement our strategies. But first up, our strategic framework. And I think you're going to hear a lot today about market knowledge and the importance of market intelligence and data. So over the last few years, we've really strengthened our market intelligence team and the way we're looking at the data across the globe. So it's a key pillar of everything we do. But with that data, we then start segmenting the markets. We're looking at where consumers are shopping. Is it retail? Is it food service? Online? Offline? So we're able to segment the markets and identify where we need to spend the money. And lastly, and consumer is king, and we don't forget about the consumer. We've got a significant investment on focusing on who the consumer is, how they're eating our product, and what their perceptions of it is. And that is critical if we want to differentiate against our competitors. So market knowledge is critical to us. But as I've mentioned, we've got to have good market access. Without strong market access, we export 70% of our product. If we don't have market access, our industry is dead. So we're really focused on driving that free trade agenda, getting more open access to as many markets as possible so that we can find the best opportunity, the best price point for product. But at the same time, we need to reduce trade barriers. Trade barriers are the killer to our sector. These are the silent killers about labelling, shelf life, meeting other regulations that just put a great impost on our commercial industry, which adds more cost into selling product and competing in the world. So we're really focused on reducing those trade barriers. We then move into the marketing and promotion. So we've got 2 areas of work that we focus on here. So business development is first, and that's working with our first tier, our customers, the first line of people overseas that receive our product. So that's the importers, wholesalers, etc. So we spend a lot of time and energy educating them about what Australia represents, what the product is, how to use it, what are the supply and demand factors, and then sharing our market knowledge with them so they know how to best promote our product. So we run, in the middle there, we run a lot of forums and seminars. We get chefs and trade involved in handling the product, touching, feeling it, seeing it, and hearing that story. And then once we've got that story with our importers, we then move down to the consumer side, the brand building. So getting the consumers more loyal and more engaged with our product. So telling them where it comes from, how we produce it, what it means with all our traceability systems, and then getting them engaged to become repeat purchasers and loyal to our customer. So that's our strategic framework. That sets us up for what we need to do. But then we need to prioritise where we invest, how we deliver those programs. So we work on what we call a portfolio segmentation. We look at how attractive a market is, what the potential growth is, how big the customer base is, how much income they have, a whole range of factors on how attractive it is. But then we have a look at how much Australia can impact that, how we as industry can impact changing behaviours there. And so market access, ability, sophistication of the supply chain and development in a country. So once we've done that, we segment the markets into four sections. So the first section there is strategically manage. We've got Indonesia and a couple of our Middle Eastern countries there. So strategically managers, they often have significant access barriers. So it's all about being there, monitoring those markets, maintaining a presence, and just looking for niche opportunities. There's significant barriers, and we want to try to find the right opportunity for when we can move on those markets. The developed markets in the top left-hand corner, they still have market access restrictions, but there's a greater opportunity there. And a good example is the Europe and the UK, where huge population, huge growth, but we have restrictive market access. So we want to be there, ready to open and unlock the opportunities in those markets. Move to the bottom right. These are called our defend and maintain. So these markets are key markets. We already have a really strong presence. And if you look at Australia, the flag's there, obviously it's our number one market. So we've got a presence there. But the growth opportunities are lower, but we need to be there and be driving our messaging, maintaining our presence, and looking for growth opportunities within those sectors that already know our product. And last of all, the grow. So grow's all about capturing the opportunities in these markets. So Japan and Korea and the US still have great opportunities in these markets, and we're there. Our growth strategy is about capturing those opportunities and leveraging an already strong market and growing it even further. So we segment the markets to ensure that we've got the right target markets so we can apply our strategies. So the next stage implementation, it's about adopting the right strategy for the right market. Our total budget for our global marketing is about $60 million. So it's a lot of money, and we need to be very cautious about how we spend it to make sure we get a return on investment. I talked about how important market access is, and you might say, why is it in the bottom left-hand corner with the smallest amount of investment? Well, our work there doesn't require as many people on the ground. It requires a strong relationship with the government. It's about supporting them and underpinning the work they do. So we have an investment there. It's an important investment, but we get a lot of bang for buck. As we move through business development, there's more work to be done. We need to be talking to our customers, the importers and trade, need to be providing them with the stories behind our product and getting them engaged. So there's more energy and more markets in that space, so the budget obviously is apportionate to that. Then as we move down the brand building segment, there's a lot more work to be done. We're trying to attract a much bigger consumer base. We need to use agencies and messaging, social media, getting at retail, telling our story to a lot bigger group of people. So obviously, we invest appropriately to get that job done. So our goal is to adopt the right strategy for the right market to get every dollar returns. So our strategy is built on that market intelligence I talked about first. We then use those insights to deliver targeted industry investment to get returns for Levy. But we've got to have a credible team to deliver that. And I'm going to talk to you about our team. We've got a global reach. We're in a global business, and we need a global reach to do the job that needs to be done. So our team are in our key markets. We need industry specialists that we can rely on to capture the insights and data and knowledge and help us do the job. So I'll be talking to you a bit about some of the specialist roles that we've had within MLA. And then we've got our industry leaders, and you're going to be hearing from them for the rest of the day. So I'll just introduce them and let you see that our leadership team are really, as Richard said, you're in safe hands. So first up, our global reach. We've got offices in our major markets. We've got 8 major offices around the globe. We have a team of local experts that we rely on for local knowledge, and we're supported by contracted staff in some of the other regions. I'm not sure if the colour come up, but the dark colours are where we have a formal office, and the green is where we use local resources to support us. So we have a global presence, and that's critical when you're in a global market. And you need to have those people on the ground to find those market insights and challenges and be able to respond quickly. But we need a team of specialists to support us. So we've got some on the left-hand side there in the yellow, consumer insights team. We've got a great team of people who are experts at consumer insights and helping us research and understand those insights and apply them to the market. We've also got a significant team of analysts that look at economic trends, trade flows, and the whole business and understanding our competitors. So we rely on them to get those signals. Market access, we've got a number of market access experts within our team, and they're focused on driving that market access strategy. Brand management, you'll be hearing about the True Aussie brand a bit later this morning. But we need a team of experts that help us apply the brand and market and get our marketing of that brand done correctly. We also have a livestock team that help us with our live export work and delivering best practice solutions to our partners overseas. So we've got the skills to do the job within MLA. I'm just going to have to refer to my notes to get the order right for the day. So you're going to be hearing now for the rest of the day from some of our leaders, and some of our external partners will also be speaking today. So not up on the screen is Jared from Millward Brown. Jared's going to be taking us through some global mega trends and where the consumers see the world going and how they're behaving at a high level. We'll be then getting Scott Tolmie up here to do a beef market overview and just tell us what's happening in global markets and what's driving demand and supply. Next, the global brands. So Jacob Baldock will be talking to us about that, and he'll be talking about how companies build global brands and how MLA is using the True Aussie brand to underpin what we do globally. We'll be having a break, and then after the break, we'll be heading to North Asia, where Andrew Cox, who's based in Japan, will be talking about Japan and Korea, 2 of our most critical Asian markets, largest Asian markets, and he'll be taking us through a story about how we're trying to capture the minds of those consumers in those markets. After Andrew, Josh Anderson, who's based in London, will be talking about the EU and UK. Josh is in London. He's at the focal point of Brexit and upcoming free trade agreements with both the UK and Europe, and has got a really good story. He's got a story to tell about how we need to be at the table up there. After the break, I'll be back. I'll be back up here talking about China. I've spent a couple of years in China. I'm now based in Singapore, but I want to take you through the China story and what are the opportunities and what are the sensitivities in that market. Well, then going over to the Middle East, Nick Mara, who's based in Dubai. Nick's going to take you through this complex market of, it's a very diverse and complex market, but with some really good opportunities. We're then going to Southeast Asia. We've had a change in personnel in Southeast Asia, so we've got our new international business manager, Ellen Rogers, who I don't think that she's quite here yet, but she's coming in this morning. But Ellen's only been with us for a week, so we've got Natalie Isaac stepping in to give us a presentation. Natalie heads up our industry insights and strategy team. Natalie will be able to give you a really good look at the Southeast Asian market through a consumer insights view. So that'll be a great presentation. We'll be then heading into the afternoon session. We're going to look at some of our more sophisticated markets. And to do that, we need to go down another level in our consumer understanding and community sentiment understanding. So Lisa Sharp, our Chief Marketing Officer, will be up here telling you about that. We'll then have Rob Williams from Washington talking about the US and how important the consumer sentiment is there. And then we'll be finishing up with Graham Yardy, who'll be doing our domestic market, as we said, a critical market, and Graham's got a 20-minute session to take you through that. Then we've got a chat with Curtis Stone, and we'll be able to wrap it up after that. So we've got a credible team of experts around the world. We know the market knowledge. We've got good relationships in our markets, and we've got the right strategy to drive the returns for industry. So thanks everybody. I'm just finishing up. So our global market strategy, in summary, it's all about market knowledge. We need to understand the markets, the opportunities and challenges. We've got to have the right strategy, and that strategy's got to be built on insights and intelligence, and it's got to be able to deliver returns for your levy investment. But to do that, we've got to have a credible team. So our team, I think you'll see today, are an incredibly passionate and strong team who are able to deliver that strategy. And the whole goal is to build global competitiveness and deliver producer profitability for those of you in the room. Thank you.